Congratulations on the purchase of your new zipper. First thing you want to do when you take it out of the box is you want to inspect for any kind of damage that could have been caused during shipping. Thoroughly look over everything, make sure they didn't bump it, throw it around. To release your unit, you actually it's a magnet, pull it down, put it back up. We're going to show you a few things here as far as service and operation to keep your unit running good for many years. The first thing you want to do after you inspect your zipper is you want to remove these weights. These weights are included for different types of carpet. For high looped carpet, you actually would like to use these weights. If you're doing a cut pile nylon, you definitely want to remove them because you're going to have more resistance. Just take out your two 5/16 screws. Both your weights can come off. Or if you'd actually like to choose to just use one, sometimes I do that depending on different carpet types, I'll just use one. The first thing I'd like to do is give you a complete overview of the zipper. I'd like to cover some of the maintenance and some of the repairs for the unit. First thing I'd like to show you is the handle. The handle is actually attached by a magnet. You would use your foot to dislodge it. Put the handle back up, it will lock right in place. First thing I'd like to do is show you how to remove the handle from the head. If you ever need to, you need to first remove your vacuum hose. Then you want to remove your solution line. You want to use a 3/8 wrench and a 9/16 wrench. You loosen up your solution line. Take that off from the compression fitting. And in the back here is your adjustment screw. It's your adjustment lock actually. And you're just going to remove that. You can release your handle. Now that we've disassembled the handle, I'd like to show you how to reassemble the handle properly. And what you want to do is you want to get this stainless steel plate here, and you want to get that between your nut and your knob. That will actually just slide in and hold it into place. You want to get your locking screw, and if you can see down in there, there's a hole. Get that lined up. And you just want to run that home. I'm not completely tightening. As you see, it's tightened, and I'm going to loosen it a little bit. Reason being is I'm going to show you how to adjust this unit. Then you want to install your solution line. Using your 9/16 and your 3/8 wrench. You want to hold your line with your 3/8 wrench so that it's straight. Get it nice and snug. Reinstall your vacuum hose. And what I'd like to show you is how to adjust this unit. And this unit, if you're doing commercial glue down carpet, you actually want to be able to fit one business card underneath the back of it. I actually loosened up my screw here a little bit. And see how I'm raising the head? The back vacuum port is actually being raised. Now if I want to go back down to commercial glue down adjustment, I want to get it to where my glide just grabs the business card. Right there is about a perfect adjustment. Go ahead and tighten up your lock screw there, and you're ready to go. The next thing I'd like to cover is removing the lid for the zipper here. And the reason you want to remove the lid is if you have debris in there, or maybe you have a leak because your O-ring went bad. So to remove the lid, we want to remove our vacuum hose. We have 4 bolts. As you can see, we don't have any debris. Ours is nice and clean. Next thing I'd like to show you is how to remove this O-ring. This is a new one, so I don't want to hurt it too bad, so I'm going to be very careful pulling it out. Okay, and there's a little trick to reinstalling this. What I'm going to show you is when I reinstall this, what I do is I press it in and I feed it back towards itself. If you try to pull it long ways, you'll stretch it and you'll have a loop at the end. So I keep feeding it towards itself instead of stretching it. And you just want to walk it all the way around the unit here. You should end up without a big bubble in it. Perfect fit. Let's reinstall my lid. You don't want to get them all tight, you just want to get them started. What you want to do is you want to tighten it up like you would a tire. You want to crisscross. Reinstall your vacuum hose. I would also like to show you how to remove the wheels if in case you get hair or what have you in here and the wheels aren't turning correctly. You want to use the wrench that's provided with the unit. Take out your bolt. You have a bolt and you have a washer. You have a thrust washer here. You can remove your wheel. And you also have a thrust washer that was in the back that actually came off with the wheel. So you want to clean everything up. Make sure the inside of this is clean. A lot of times I'll push this back and forth to clean out the inside. Reinstall your thrust washer. Reinstall your wheel. You have another thrust washer. And you've got your bolt and a flat washer. Get that in there. I like to hold my washer nice and straight right before I snug it. Ready to go. Next, I'd like to cover the glides and glide care. We have a whole glide here that's in the back, and we have a slot glide here that's in the front. And if you'll notice in the slot glide, there's bridges. Those bridges a lot of times will get stuck with women's hair or debris. Supplied with every unit is a pair of tweezers. You can get in here and you can pull your hair out. Preferably what I like to do is cover half of my vacuum hose and run it down the slot of the glide, and that removes the hair from there. And we also have a clean out tool. This is for the whole glides. If debris happens to get stuck in there, you can clean it out with this. The reason for these glides positioned the way that they are is that you can pick up debris with your slotted glide and you get better venturi out of your whole glide. You always want to have a whole glide in the back, but you can choose to actually put a whole glide in the front. And if you're pre-vacuuming, this is the best way to get your fastest dry times. And what I will do is show you how to remove these glides and how to reinstall them. To remove your glides, you first have to take off your glide retainer. This is done with 2 screws. Okay, your glide will slide out. Now if you had chipped your glide, or if you have a lot of wear on your glide, you can turn it over 180 degrees. You can reinstall it. So you've got double the life of your glides. A lot of times what I will do if I'm doing a carpet that's already been pre-vacuumed and I want it to dry very, very fast, I'll install a whole glide. That will give you the best dry times there. So reinstalling your glide. So reinstall it. Put your glide retainer on. Get your screw just started. Then you want to get your bottom screw just started. And go ahead and tighten that up, not too much. You're all set. I'd also like to cover the jets on these units. As you can see, they're all equipped with half-inch check valves. Now with the jets, the way we like to set them up, and that's why I'm showing two different models here. We have a 13-inch, which we have the ends are straight. These are cockeyed a bit. They're actually these canine ones. This one's straight, this one's cockeyed, this one's straight. And the reason for that is so that the jets don't collide with each other and we get a nice even spray pattern across it. Now on the 15, both of our ends are straight. And the four jets in the middle here are slanted just a bit. They're just a bit sideways so that they don't collide with each other, and we also get a nice even spray pattern on this unit. That's the way we like to set them up, and that's the way I would suggest you set them up if you ever need to replace them or clean them out. Okay, a few things I'd like to show you here. This is a solution lever. We also have a solution lever lock. If you turn that into the position there, you can lock your solution lever for continuous flow. In the back here, depending on where you want your vac hose, this will actually swivel for you, a little to the right, a little to the left. Tighten it back up. We also have a filter, and this filter is for your solution coming from your truck mount. And to remove that, you need a 13/16 and 11/16. You're going to remove your filter, make sure that there's no debris in here. You can either go with a 100 mesh or you can go with a 50 mesh. Depending on how much debris your machine puts out, maybe you'll have a steel coils that you have rust, you might want to go with a thicker mesh. The 100 mesh may get clogged very quickly, but that's completely up to you. Just reinstall that. Take your 13/16 again and your 11/16 and just give it a nice snug. You want to keep that clean so you get real steady, good flow through your unit. If that gets dirty, you'll cut down the flow of your unit. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how to disassemble the handle to get to your valve in case you ever have to rebuild it. You shouldn't. It's a good quality valve. Put a lot of temperature through them. We've been using them a long time. They're precision fluid control. You won't find a better valve on the planet. So let's start by removing the valve from the unit. And the first thing you're going to want to do is again take your 3/8 inch wrench. We showed you this in a earlier video. You just want to hold this and you want to take your 9/16 and you want to take that off your flare fitting there. Okay, you're just going to put a little bit of, put this hose, just take the solution line and push it in just a little bit. You know, coming up to the top, you're going to want a 7/16 wrench, and you're also going to want to have the Allen wrench that fits this. Okay. You're going to remove both of these. You're going to want to remove your solution lever lock, pair of pliers, channel locks, whatever you have. And you're actually just going to unscrew that. Finish removing your screws here. What you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to put one foot on your head, and you're going to want to pull up on your handlebar. And that comes right out to you. Put that to the side. Get your 9/16 wrench. Take off your top part of your solution line here. And we're going to bring it over to the bench, and I'm going to show you how to rebuild this. Okay, you're going to take your valve assembly, put it in a vise. You might want to keep a towel so you don't mar anything up. It doesn't have to be real tight. You're going to take off your bottom cap here. You're going to have a spring under here. So you've got your cap, got your spring, and you're going to have your stem. So the three parts that are in your valve. I'm actually going to move these over here so I can work on them. Okay, and what you're going to want to do is the stem is actually in two pieces. This probably will never go bad, but if you do have to replace it, this will actually come apart in two pieces here. I can probably get another wrench and I can show you how that's done. Why don't we do that on the next take, and I'll show you putting it back together. Okay, the reason you may need to rebuild your valve is you have a continuous flow, it's not shutting off. So what you're going to need is a 1/4-inch wrench and a 5/16 wrench. And this is actually in two parts here. This will come apart right in the middle. So when you receive a new kit, it's going to include this Teflon washer. And now you've also got a Teflon washer and a neoprene washer right on this part and on this part. These are the same, so you get 2 of the Teflon washers and 2 of the neoprene washers and a new spring with your rebuild kit. And you'll also get this washer that's down here on the cap. And what you want to do, this is a new valve, so I'm not gonna pull this apart because I could damage it pulling it off, but you very simply get a screwdriver in here and you pull off your O-rings, both sides, and if you notice, the whites are on the top and on the bottom. Those are your Teflon washers, and then your neoprene washers will be in the middle, and you just slide those right back on. These are in two pieces here, and so when you reassemble it, you basically put your Teflon washer in the middle. You tighten it back up. You would have already removed this and put a new O-ring on here. And what I like to do is use a little bit of O-ring lube or Vaseline, whatever you have. Lube your stem up, lube your cap O-ring up. And the way you reinstall this here is you see how it's flat on the bottom. This is where your spring goes. Okay, the part with the hole in it is where your spring goes. So that goes to the bottom of your valve. As you can see, that pushes in there. To install your spring. And you reinstall your cap. Not too tight, just a little snug. Pretty much all set. Now let's go over here and I'm going to reinstall this. First thing you're going to want to do is put the top of your solution line on. Again, take your 9/16 wrench. I always like to brace this up against myself a little bit, just so I can get it nice and tight. Okay. Now what you're going to do, see how there's holes in the handlebar here? You're going to want to line that up perfectly inside so that you can get it lined up straight. And you just want to make sure your holes are lined up, otherwise you'll scratch your handlebar. Just tap that down until your holes line up. Bingo. Now what you're going to want to have on hand is you're going to want to have some Loctite on hand. And the reason for that is to make sure your bolts don't come loose just a little bit on the ends, as you can see there. And I just want to reinstall these. Actually, let me do one at a time, will be easier. Just make sure your holes are lined up. I gotta wiggle everything a little bit. I can go ahead and put these right in here. You could actually get them lined up. You shouldn't have to screw them in. They should just push in. Reinstall your acorn nuts. You don't want to over tighten them, but you want to get them pretty snug. Again, using a little bit of Loctite just on the edge of your thread here. You want to reinstall your solution lever lock. Now what you'll want to do is pull your solution lever lock up so that that's in that position. You actually want to screw this all the way in. Make sure you use Loctite or this will end up spinning. Now if you can get a view over here, if you look through the side, you can actually see a plunger. See the plunger going in and out? Okay. And you want this to where you're just starting to see the thread. See, if I go too far, I'm seeing too much thread in here. I want to back it off just a little bit so it grabs the handle. And that's working proper. Okay. And then we're going to reinstall our bottom solution line. And when putting this on, this is again why you want to have your 3/8 wrench. You see how this can come out? If I started to turn this, I would twist it and this thing would get all twisted, the solution line. So I basically want to hold this in place. Hold that right in place so it's nice and square, and I actually just want to tighten this right up. And there she is.